No, it's awesome, Mandor. You sound like an actual stormtrooper right now. It's awesome.
Awesome. I was hoping so.
Don't you put the mic in the mask? Isn't that how you do it?
Yeah, I have a Bluetooth headset I'm just wearing.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Makes it literally sound like you're in a helmet.
Because I am.
Dude, the redesign is pretty sick. Is this a different headset or a helmet, or is it the same?
It's a different helmet. It's just the prototype Boba Fett helmet. I was being lazy and didn't feel like getting my stuff out today, so I just took this off the shelf.
Dude, I like it. It's got like this refined stormtrooper look.
I actually like the white.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too. I think about doing a whole kit just all white, like the prototype Boba Fett.
That would be sick, actually. I don't think I've seen any white Mandalorian armor. Well, except for the ones that were working for the
Empire and Rebels.
Yeah, and Rebels.
The Imperial Commandos, I think they were called.
Those are the only ones I remember. So what y'all think about the last 2 episodes?
I'm really episode 3 was episode 3 was me. It's kind of giving off this Thrawn vibe, like they're setting up Thrawn and Moff Gideon's reappearance. You know what I mean? Like it's either Thrawn's going to show up maybe in episode 6 or 7 or 8, or Moff Gideon's coming back with a vengeance, because all of those officers, they had those L and G designations. They all knew who Moff Gideon was, but they didn't have a clear, they didn't have knowledge of where he actually was. You know, so I foresee one of those two coming in either episode 7 or 8.
I think it's going to be.
Wait, sorry, what?
I think it's going to be Gideon, Moff Gideon. I don't think it's going to be Thrawn. I think they're saving Thrawn for Ahsoka for sure.
Ahsoka.
Well,
you don't think you never know.
We were bringing it up the first episode that we felt like with the Purgles in the first episode that they were going to end up.
That's
the whole
true. That's true, because I was thinking we could get a cameo from somebody in this show. I forgot about the Purgle until you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, my observation with the TIE Advanced program too, because wasn't Thrawn a big part of the TIE Advanced Fighter program?
Yeah, he made the TIE Destroyer.
Okay, yeah. I know that he's a big part of Navy, the fleet, the scientific, R&D with fleets. So I know that.
Were those TIE Destroyers or TIE Fighters that showed up?
I thought those were TIE Interceptors that attacked.
Those were Interceptors, but the TIE Destroyer was in the Rebels at the latter 2 seasons. That also comes from, I forget what MS-DOS game that was, but I think that was TIE Squadron or something. I can't remember. Yeah, that was the first appearance of that ship. And then it looks like, Filoni made it canon by bringing it into Star Wars Rebels. But I think that's kind of where that little squadron of TIE interceptors came from, was either a secret Moff Gideon fleet, or maybe it's Thrawn's fleet. Because you remember, Thrawn actually had part of the unknown region mapped out, and that's the whole reason why he was brought into the
Yeah, but that's what I was noticing. She's like, who has a fleet that big out here? And I'm like, Thrawn would have a fleet that big out there. Or could potentially have a fleet that big.
I was thinking it was Moff Gideon, but I mean, the only way that could be possible is if he escaped. But I was thinking the other day, I was thinking it can't be Gideon because he's fucking captured. He's got to be in prison, but it's been 2 years since then. So you never know what can happen in 2 years.
True.
Yeah, no officer said he escaped the war tribunal or got put in the mind flare. They don't know.
Well, it's been 2 years. Plus, also, we know he's going to be in there. They said he's on the cast, and then he said, oh, yeah, you're going to see a fucking different version of him or whatever. So he's going to pop up at some point. It's just a matter of when. Is it going to be next episode? Is it going to be end of the season? Who knows?
I also think there's a possibility of what's his name? Kylo Ren's master. I can't. What's his name? The dude with the Snoke, because he let me hit that again. Well, sorry about that.
Your mic's doing that thing again. I don't know. Are you like physically adjusting it when you fix it, or what are you doing?
No, I go into the settings and adjust it.
Oh yeah, it just started randomly doing it again. It's not as bad as the first time, but it's slightly there.
I'll give you. I'm gonna hop off this real quick. I'll be right back on. I gotta, check this out. It's my my in-law.
No problem. We'll see you.
All right. I'll be right back.
No problem. Oh, I just removed Danny on accident. He clicked out, and then I went to remove him, and you slid into his spot, and it removed you. So yeah, I mean, it could be Gideon, but the Purrgil may also, like I said, make me think that maybe Thrawn or even Ezra could be showing up in the Mandalorian. But
I mean, so the way that I'm figuring that is possibly maybe they might have that for the end, kind of like a whole post-credit scene thing or something, depending on how the season plays out, kind of like how they did with the whole Book of Boba Fett announcement at the end of season 2. That's what makes me kind of go that route with it being a more end of season thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they aren't afraid to like mix up their stuff in other shows and confuse the hell out of everyone jumping in, as we just saw.
At this point, I'm just like, where is the season going? Because we're halfway through the season.
And it's got a lot of setup and not much payoff.
It's a couple side stories. A couple side stories, some good stuff, a lot of good Mandalorian stuff, but where is the plot actually going? As of right now, it's just kind of like,
I feel that because it's like it was going more toward, like, this episode was more towards like the Mando, like trying to get that whole thing going, but the thing with episode 3, obviously they're setting something up, because you wouldn't have a whole 40 minutes of Pershing jacking off if it wasn't for nothing.
Yeah. And there's rumors that scientist on the Bad Batch is Pershing's mom, the one that he said died of cancer, that she was the scientist on Cameo working with the Bad Batch and everything on Mount Tannis right now.
That was the one that Crosshair woke up to?
Yeah, they were saying that could be his mother.
She's 100% a clone. 100%.
Yeah, because she sounds just like. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. After I heard that, I was listening. Like, she sounds so much like Omega though when she talks.
Yeah,
but animation,
it has to be a reason for that.
Yeah, but at the same time, animation, it saves money to use the same actress, and all of us being kind of like musicians are going to pick up on that person's voice and be like, "That's the same person."
No, bro, because they know that using that New Zealand accent is specific.
Gives away their clones. Yeah.
Yes, like that is specific to to clones or to
because everyone else is British, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, there's got to be a reason as to why they did that. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing that also caught my interest was the fact that holocast that Dr. Pershing was putting out was all about his work with genetic programming. You know what I mean? And if you look at Star Wars Legends, there's so many stories about them cloning Luke. There's a story about like them, cloning Sidious. So there's all that, because they wouldn't have put in season 2 that whole that whole base that was filled with Snoke looking clones. I mean, the only thing that I've ever seen that was like that was Jurassic Park, and then the other one was Aliens with Sigourney Weaver's clone. You know what I mean? Where they tried to mix xenomorphs with human DNA.
Was that Resurrection?
And so that's what I think they're foreshadowing. There's got to be either we're going to get a Snoke kind of like segue, or we're going to get like an Ezra Bridger. They put so many Easter eggs in the last 2 seasons that is kind of getting hard to predict what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because the first season you could like hit it each wicket very easily. If you were a Star Wars fan, you'd be like, oh, that's going to be in this season. But seasons 2 and 3 are like literally like kind of making a Mandiverse. You know what I'm saying? Like how there's the cinematic Marvel universe. They're kind of getting into that kind of, that kind of format. Everything's piggybacking off of, each Easter egg that they reveal, So, I mean,
like the idea is for all of these post Return of the Jedi movies or shows that everything is going to come together in a collaboration like a Marvel phase. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They all end like how Infinity War and Endgame ended phase 3 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So everything is building up. Like you said, we got the Mandalorian universe. We got Boba Fett doing his thing. We're going to have, what's the new show? Squadron?
Oh, the Skeleton Key? The Skeleton Crew, I mean.
Is it Skeleton? No.
Well, wouldn't it be like almost like the Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron. That's what it is.
Because like they really name dropped on that during what was it? I can't remember the one where they actually went into the Death Star plans getting stolen. Rogue One.
Yeah. They said, did they cancel the Rogue Squadron movie? Because that was Patty Jenkins who did Wonder Woman. Was supposed to do that.
Rogue Squadron movie. What's the damn show called then?
I know there was Rangers of the New Republic. There's that show, and the one that they're working on now.
Squadron movie or something, but I don't know if that got shelved.
Yeah, they canceled it. That was going to be Wonder Woman's director doing that, and then they threw that out after 84 came out because that movie sucked.
Dude, 84 was terrible. But
it was a trash movie.
Like I couldn't get past the first 15 minutes. But
what they did with the Dreamstone was all it took for me. I was like, nope, I'm out.
Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah, that's what I said. You didn't hear me that time.
I didn't hear you say that.
Isn't there also one about the younglings and Yoda that's going to be computer graphics, the same as the Clone Wars?
I think they're going to do a High Republic show, right?
Well, that's
the one with Yoda.
I mean that could possibly be way back when Mandalore came up with the Darksaber. You know what I mean? Because that's all that era way back when 1,000 years BBY.
Are you talking about Young Jedi Adventures?
Yes, that's the one that I've heard about. That's supposed to be like a Yoda special, like you know what I mean. So
really.
I mean, like maybe because George Lucas holds on to any Yoda lore, and like you got to give it to him to approve.
Oh, that comes out next month, April 26th.
So
really, I didn't know it was that close.
Dude, I mean, like it's like exactly like he said, Darth Bane said, or Games Like Bane. It's all going to be this massive Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? What I think is they were like, hey, screw J.J. Abrams and everything that he put together. We're going to make a, intermittent story that can pick up at the end. Because you got to think Grogu was like 20 when he was saved by the voice actor for Jar Jar Binks. Now 30 years pass, Luke is a grown old man, late 20s, early 30s. He's 50 now. Now it's 2 years past the first Jedi school that Luke's built. And then you can also think Grogu's going to be the one to glue everything together, because I foresee the return of Mandalore the Great with the Darksaber or some modification made to the Darksaber that Grogu can possess, because the armorer was giving
him. Or you mean like Tar Vizsla?
Yeah. The armorer was giving him.
Was that Tar Vizsla, the Mandalorian Jedi?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's definitely set up for that, especially since he chose to go with. I mean, he's gonna get more Force training eventually. He's gonna live to be 900 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, but definitely the next Tar Vizsla.
Yeah, I was explaining to my son when we watched the episode together. I was like, dude, like Baby Yoda is Grogu is the glue that's going to put everything together. Because if he was alive during the prequels, he was alive during episode 6 through 9, and 3 through 6 and 6 through 9. I mean, if you're going to do anything to put together anything beyond that, he's your glue. He's holding everything together. He's going to witness all of this shit like Yoda did for almost 1,000 years. So
that's what I think he's doing during the time of the sequels. Mm-hmm. He's doing his own school, teaching his own school of Jedi somewhere else in the universe, in the galaxy.
I got to interrupt real quick. So, in the old Legends continuity with Mara Jade and Luke having like offspring, Cade Skywalker, the Legacy comics from Dark Horse, it'd be cool if they kind of rewrote it to where Grogu is kind of like Cat Skywalker character, and he fights Darth Krayt and like the new Sith Order and stuff like that would be pretty sick to me. Where you have, like you said, like grown up, and now he's fighting against that new Sith Order with Darth Krayt and like. Like Star Wars Legacy comics from Dark Horse.
Understood you. I thought you were talking about Grogu basically being Darth Krayt.
No, Grogu growing up to be like the hero who fights him instead of like Skywalker's descendants, because Luke's dead now and Rey doesn't count. So,
well, Rey's Palpatine.
Yeah, but she, I'm making a joke at the end of she's like, I'm Rey Skywalker now. I changed my name, and it's like, whatever.
Hey, whenever they dropped that, my aunt and everybody was like, "Why would she say that?" And I'm like,
that whole thing was awkward. It made no sense because she's like in the desert and there's an old lady.
My thing is, I was like, think about after World War II. If your last name was fucking Hitler, would you want to go with your name was Hitler? No, you would not.
Oh yeah, I'm related to Anakin Skywalker. No thanks.
Well, no, yeah, but not many people. Not the galaxy didn't know that Anakin was Darth Vader.
Only a select group knew, and they were mostly in the Empire anyway.
Anakin Skywalker was more known as being a literal Jedi hero, general hero.
Yeah, Kanan loved him. Yeah, thought he was badass.
Who?
Kanan. They met in the when Zahn came back and with the new novels. Yeah, he him and Anakin met in the unknown regions at some point. I forgot how the story went down.
Yeah. So Grogu jumping over the kid and shooting him with the darts, that was pretty sick. At first, when he walks up and he's like, next challenger, and he just sets Grogu, I'm like, he's going to get kicked across the fucking sand.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way that they're going to have Grogu wrestling like a kid 3 times his size. Like, there's no way. Like, what we doing? We're having fucking Mando jiu-jitsu class over here?
Well, did it be almost impossible to put Grogu in an omoplata? His arms are too short. You would have to wrap your finger around and bend it back.
Yeah, he would just...
You look like Jason Sudeikis in first season.
What I thought was going to happen was the kid was going to run at him and Grogu was just going to go and throw him the fuck away.
Yeah, I
force push.
If they fought, I was like, oh, he's just going to do some force shit. But I was like, oh, no.
Get a force jump.
Shoot each other. Nice.
Well, dude, it was kind of reminiscent of a Dooku versus Yoda. He just flipped around, and, surprised him with his maneuverability, and then he was just like pop, 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 game. Game blouses.
I gotta ask though, I don't get why they all couldn't just sit around and eat like this. You can't fucking see me.
True,
I don't even run away.
But they're like the what's his name? The famous group of knights during the Crusades, the Templar Knights. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're devout and they're all about that life, that Mandalorian life. So I mean, to me, it just seems like they're trying to show different layers of this Mandalorian sect, because they're a cult essentially, bro. Like if you look back in anything that you see in Rebels, in the Clone Wars, they, you know, there wasn't this super devout sect of Mandalorians that's like, no, we're gonna live by the creed, for the creed, and you know, and for the foundlings. There wasn't any of that shit.
Right.
So my thing that I was going to ask you guys is, do you think that Bo-Katan is actually going to stick with it, or do you think she's going to fall off?
No, I mean, I think she's learning some valuable lessons that she'll probably utilize later, but I don't think she's going to stick with it.
Bro, I think that she's reborn, because you think
you really
about,
think so?
I mean, you think about even how she read the lore of Mandalore the Great to Din Djarin in the mines. She was kind of like joking about it. She had this jokey, okey doke kind of tone. But then as soon as she saw the mythosaur, everything there was a paradigm shift.
Okay,
you know
so you think the mythosaur is like it really was the
she was the convert.
Everything after that basically made her whole thing kind of shift from what I've seen so far, because this whole last episode, because even when she was like, how do you eat? And then they're like, oh, well, you just go away somewhere else where you can take your helmet off. And then she was like, oh, shit. And like, she was kind of looking around like, damn, for real? And then at the end of the thing, when she's getting her pauldron redone and got the mythosaur on, like, hey, is this cool? And they're like, yeah. She was like, oh, fuck yeah, let's do this shit.
Well, if you think about it, there's two ways to the throne of Mandalore. There's taming the mythosaur, and there's the Darksaber. So what I think is possible that if there's going to be any kind of internal conflict, it's going to be someone tames the mythosaur, someone has the Darksaber, and it's going to create this bisection where you're going to have the Mandalorians to the left and the Mandalorians to the right. And so who really has to claim the power? I believe it's the mythosaur, since that predates everything by thousands of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the original.
That's the original jump off, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the mythosaur trumps the Darksaber, but who knows? I mean, you know, there's so many different ways that this can go. Like, I've heard so many theories of people saying that there's going to be some kind of inner like civil war within the Mandalorian culture, where they're like, oh, we got the mythosaur and the Darksaber. But I mean, who knows? It's, you know, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, are hitting out the field, bro. They're knocking this. They're batting 100 so far. But the one thing that I thought was really cool was the last episode was directed by Carl Weathers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if that is going to be the only Order 66 scene, I'm glad that Carl Weathers got to direct that one.
Dude, it was beautiful.
Ahmed Best episode.
Bringing Ahmed Best back, dude, because I mean, the hate that guy got from stupid fucking fans back in the day who just trashed that dude because of how he was directed to act in the movie. It's not even how he chose to do it. It's when you're in a movie and you're acting, you're directed on how to act. You know, so if the acting comes off as something that you don't like the acting, you don't get pissed off at the actor. I mean, unless they were in control of everything, which most of the time is not the case.
Well, it's the same thing with music too. Like, if one of us goes in the studio, we're working with a producer, and then like everyone's always going to trash the musician. Oh, why the fuck did that get put out? Like, hey, the producer fucking said it was okay. They put it in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. But like, I'm like you're saying, it's a good thing that he got a new character that everyone's probably gonna be like, oh shit, and probably half the people out there aren't gonna even realize it was him. But
most people know.
Fucking good for him. Like, he's got to roll down that he can come back and say, fuck you guys, I was born in Jar Jar. I'm the guy that say Grogu, bitches. What's up?
Exactly. And that scene did him justice.
Oh,
I mean, when he picked up that second lightsaber and was fucking the stormtroopers up, I was like, yes. Or the clone troopers. He was doing it, dude. He was sitting there batting those fucking blaster bolts back like it was nobody's business. It was like watching this Serena Williams match versus any other female tennis player. They just couldn't handle the power, bro. That backhand's too strong.
I think it was amazing bringing him back and giving him another chance to be in Star Wars because as long as he survived the rescue, we don't know. We might get more throughout the season, more flashbacks of him with, what's his name? Den, something?
I don't know. Kelleran or something was his other name.
I can't remember his name. But Ahmed Best's character, if he survives the rescue, we could get potentially more material with him in the future.
But there's a setup for him possibly being the one who can complete Grogu's training. I mean, you think about it, like there wasn't any kind of clue saying that, oh, he's going to get smoke checked, he's not going to be here. So I mean, honestly, he's like Cal Kestis master. You know what I'm saying? Just out there doing her own thing. He's out there in the galaxy doing his own thing. They didn't mention him in the Inquisitor episodes. None of that came out with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's like he might be one of those Jedi that's safe, essentially, unless they have some Anakin cutscene where Vader comes in and slashes him down.
Fucks him up.
I hope not.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're
I hope
supposed
it's Clement Boss and a handshake instead.
Wouldn't that be fucked up if they brought us Ahmed Best back on screen as a Jedi who whoops some fucking ass, and then Anakin just comes in like fucking done, like
in your face, bitch.
Because there is a part of Grogu's past that is blank, that's black, that Grogu can't remember for whatever reason, whether it was erased by somebody or if he just pushed it so far out of his memory because it was dark side training that he didn't want to remember it. There's a section many years, I don't remember how many years, maybe even a couple decades, where he was not where he doesn't remember, and it's very possible that he was receiving dark side training.
Well, if you think about this, that is a symptom of PTSD. The fact that you have selective memory, your consciousness protects you from the things that bring you down. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like Grogu could have, you got to think he's only 20. That's like 5% of his entire life. You know what I'm saying? So it's, he could have suppressed that somehow. Because remember, once the armor started hitting banging on the armor, and he started seeing the sparks, you saw his countenance change to more sad and depressed. And then only at that moment did he flash back to reveal what actually happened, who saved him.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like we're going to be getting some of those suppressed memories brought back. Hopefully more this season. I'd love to see more. I'd love to see Ahmed Best, even if it's only a few minutes. Let's see him rescuing Grogu in every episode for the rest of the season. We only got 4 episodes left. We're halfway through the damn season already. That's what I was talking about when the stream started. Is like we've had a lot of cool shit happen. We've got to see a lot of cool Mando shit, but plot-wise, aside from our little side arc with Dr. Pershing, it's like, okay, that's setting up some cloning stuff. That could possibly be setting up Thrawn. Gideon's definitely coming at some point. But what are the Mandalorians heading towards? All we really got is Bo-Katan's character development.
Well, thinking back,
isn't the goal to go home?
What's that, Danny?
I said, isn't their goal kind of like at this point to actually go back to Mandalore because they know they can breathe on the planet and see?
That's one thing I was wondering too.
Like, are they all going to go back and check it out together now? And then the mythosaur could, like, because I feel like Bo-Katan wants to be the one who makes the mythosaur rise, so she can take that claim because she's the only one who's seen it, and I think that she actually believes she's the chosen one, so to speak, right now.
A caveat to that: we also saw Grogu mind meld with the Rancor. Remember at the end of Boba Fett. So I think Grogu has the same affinity as Ezra Bridger, who can connect with animals better. That was one of his
the animal kinship.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if Bo-Katan does do it, it's because Grogu leads the way. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe the youngest person in the group might be the one to mentally break the
what?
Huh?
Fucking Grogu taming the mythosaur, being the first one to ride the mythosaur. Like, holy shit.
I mean, think about it. There's no other lore about how to do this. It's only happened a couple times in Mandalorian lore. You know what I'm saying? So Grogu is the only person so far we've seen that was like, boom, I calm down the Rancor. It goes to sleep when I want it to. That's a big step. You got to think Grogu's only in human years like 5 or 6. So if a 5 or 6 year old's like, hey, I could take a 40-foot beast and make him my bitch, then what the sky's the limit. Who knows what other training he got from Luke? We know that Luke trained him enough to survive. We saw that when he fought Ragnar. You flip over, distract, tag, game over.
Yeah, and he escaped the mines on his own.
And the Mudhorn. He beat that when he was in human years 5 or 6. So it's like, who knows where it can go? All I can say is it's going to be some epic storytelling.
Definitely and hopefully.
Oh, and y'all caught the reference to Tong's Day, right? The Tong and bringing that involved in the canon now.
What?
They referenced they had Bindu Day is one of the references they made in episode 3, and then Tong's Day, which the Tong were that ancient race of that settled Mandalore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they name dropped that in the 3rd episode too.
About Bendu Day online, but I didn't. I don't remember hearing that in the show though when I watched it.
Well, the guy says it to Pershing at the table. He says, "Happy Bindu Day," and he hands him that stack of JD Power Awards.
Oh, that just went right over my head. I didn't even notice it.
But remember, Thrawn has also met the Bindu. Remember, like it like projected its face in that storm cloud and spoke to him directly. So what happens if he meets up with Ezra Bridger, and then Ezra's like, hey, like the way of the old Jedi, the old way of the Jedi is dying. Like we can't live in absolutes, because that's what led to Yoda, literally one of the most adept Force users in the universe, losing his ability to foreshadow, to foresee events. They were all blocked because of their absolutism. He didn't want to believe that a random army made by one Jedi who's been dead for 20 years, created the clone troopers. You know what I'm saying? When you think about that, their absolutism blinded them to be like, hey, like why would a almost Jedi master make this happen in secret and not tell anyone? You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't get any kind of like, the clone troopers are gonna kill us at one point. There was none of that. So I think the new way of the Jedi, especially since Grogu's going to be living for so long, is going to be the way of the Gray Jedi that you get from the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, I mean that's
when
I brought up Grogu training the next generation of Jedi. That's when I envision it in my fantasy. It's exactly like that. They're not bound by the same things that the old Jedi were, like Yoda, everybody. I mean, they're allowed to have connections. They're allowed to love. They're allowed to have relationships. You know what I'm saying? But they're also
fighting for.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
they also have just really amazing modern advanced training, going off of everything that they've learned.
Well, if you think about that, some of the most powerful moments of Jedi lore are because it was in fear of losing a loved one or someone they were close to. Like you think about in Obi-Wan when he's like, "Hey, I am definitely not going to let Anakin find out about his kids, and then Obi-Wan went OP and throws this hail of boulders at Vader. That was out of love. You know what I'm saying? Like he actually got Obi-Wan reconnected with the Force after suppressing it for so many years that he was at or above his previous level. You know what I'm saying? And that was all to protect the Luke and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it, like even that one episode where Mace goes off in the animated, not the computer generated Clone Wars, but the animated Clone Wars,
Clone Wars 2D.
Yeah, that to
the Tarkovsky one.
He literally lost his lightsaber and beat up a bunch of battle bots with his bare hands. You know what I'm saying? It's always this next level of power for the Jedi always comes from love and that parental need to protect your lineage. You know what I'm saying? So I foresee like when Grogu having this Mandalorian / Jedi upbringing, he's going to be one of the most powerful Jedis we have ever heard of. You know what I mean? Like you think about that. Someone, because Mandalorians were the only people who can fuck with the Jedis and hand-to-hand combat back in the day. You know what I mean? Look at Tar Vizsla fighting. When he fought Darth Maul, he put up a fight. Like you know what I'm saying? The Darksaber listened to him. He knew who he was. You know, so it's always these points where, you know, like when Ahsoka had to protect Ezra, she became more OP. So there's all these. I think that they're setting it up to have this kind of emotional connection because, like, you think about it, Ahsoka is one of the most powerful Jedis that I believe is in canon. Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like probably the closest thing to a canon gray Jedi we have right now.
Exactly.
Because he's not technically a Jedi. Yeah.
Right.
I am no Jedi.
As of in the Mandoverse at that point in time, probably the most dangerous Force user that we're aware of, if she wants to be.
And if you think, I saw this one video where it actually went over Ahsoka's body count. She actually has one of the biggest body counts of all the Jedis in all the series that she's been in.
Really?
So, oh yeah, dude. It's like almost every time she's in an episode, she smoke checks somebody. Like even with the what was the Star Wars was it Visions or the little short stories? She had a moment where
Tells the Jedi.
She fucked up an Inquisitor. Yeah, tells the Jedi she fucked up an Inquisitor. So it's like, and then she
did
the crystals and made her white lightsabers again. So I think there's going to be some kind of tie with Ahsoka, especially with Grogu, because she was the first one to establish, communication with him. You know what I mean? So she has that kind of that relationship with Grogu. I mean, I think there's going to be two surrogate moms, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan, and then Din Djarin's going to be his dad, who, if you think about it, and you look at the principles that Din Djarin fights for, he kind of, if you look at the lore, he kind of resembles a gray Jedi. It presents himself as a gray. If he actually learned how to control the Darksaber and lived off the way that the Creed tells him to protect the foundlings, that's just like being a Jedi Master trying to protect the youngling Jedi.
That's kind of where I wanted to go for a second, because we were talking earlier about like Bo-Katan wanting to possibly tame the Mythosaur. Like, what if Din and Bo-Katan like just come together, decide that, hey, fuck it, let's rule Mandalore together. One has a Darksaber, the other has a Mythosaur. Like, that could be a thing.
Power couple.
You've been reading that romantic fan fiction, haven't you?
No.
He's going down a Luke Soka path.
Yeah, we're watching the head-to-head, like, helmet to helmet, and rub each other.
Then Djarin becomes the Mandalorian Fabio.
So, have y'all heard the leaks about Ezra Bridger for when he shows up? It's pretty interesting.
No.
Oh no! Please divulge, please.
You ready for this? Okay, so
I don't know. Depends. Did you
it's not
get
huge.
this? Did you get this information from Mike Zero?
No, absolutely. This is from
That guy's a fucking clown. I haven't paid attention to him in years.
There's nothing worse than someone arguing with you on Facebook and then they link you to a Mike Zero video as their proof, and you're just like,
is he the Alex Jones of Star Wars?
I forgot.
He's a YouTuber and he makes videos and is just like probably one of the worst. He's very well known and he has a lot of following, but one of the worst Star Wars YouTubers.
For whenever Force Awakens came out, he was semi right with a couple things, but then like I forgot whether it was Last Jedi or Force Awakens. I was watching some of his videos and like literally everything that he said was gonna happen in the movie never happened. I'm like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, where the fuck is he getting his source from?
No, he also he claimed that Ewan McGregor came out and apologized for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show and how awful it was. He made a video. He makes videos like that. I'm like, that never happened, bro.
He endorsed the hell out of that show. He was one of the producers. Like, he was there the whole time it was being made. Why would he ever be like, no, I don't like the way it came out? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's parts of Kenobi I hate and there's parts of Kenobi I fucking love. But whether you like it or not, Ewan McGregor was involved in the making of that show.
Yeah. He apologized for how bad it was.
Now, like, if you're gonna talk about how bad something was, it's usually like 10 years after it came out. You're like, oh yeah, that show fucking sucked. But yeah, like it's so fresh. And the thing is, like, I didn't think it was a bad show at all. Like, there was actually parts that I enjoyed, but
there was
people made it worse than it was because they don't like Reva, and I'm like, dude.
Well, my issue.
You can't hate a show.
My main issue with that show is the writing. First of all, some of the writing was just kind of all over the place for a lot of the show. I think Reva would have been a great character to have in a different show, like maybe Andor season 2.
Yeah, it would have made more. Yeah, and the fake out shit was stupid.
Have absolutely shined in Andor, being the villain in Andor.
I see that. Like, I didn't have a problem with her at all. It was more, I think my issue that I did have was she was just, I don't know, maybe it was just her attitude or some shit. Like, she's so hell bent on finding Kenobi. I'm like, dude, that's fucking Vader's job. Like, let him deal with that.
But bro, you also got to think, and the culture we live in now, you got to kind of, give everybody their chance to shine. You know what I'm saying? So it's a female character. I mean, if you look at and remember an they had an end game of the Phase 3 with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They had that entire scene of all the female heroes come out and do some cool shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I had no problem with that at all. I thought that was actually pretty fucking cool.
But I honestly think that was the best women's empowerment scene in a movie, in a fantasy movie in a long time, since Sigourney Weaver. She was like the first heroine in an action movie or a thriller. So like, I think that was a good, it was a good stepping stone. I mean, like, but I hope that they don't play into the wokeness and start oversaturating the market with this ridiculous, like, oh my God, well, everything, falls onto women or falls onto the alphabet gang or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let's get back onto that track and not onto the political track like we did last time.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but it's, that's, they have to pander to everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's all, you think about it, it's all about the dollar bill. It's all about the dollar bill. But it's great to see people like Filoni and Favreau give it the justice that it needs to be given. I mean, like, how many things have they pulled from Legends in the canon? That mountain in the Bad Batch that we got to see with the almost who we think may be one of the donors for Omega, you know what I mean? Because they have a similar voice. That mountain that secret base is all from Legends. That's not been in any Star Wars canon ever. That's a Legends thing. And so if they keep reaching back and taking the best pieces of Legend and bringing it into canon, it should make for a good story as long as we have those two at the helm.
I want Prince Caesar and the shit because they brought his kind out into the stuff already, but it'd be cool to see how, like, if they bring like him actually into something, like how they did with Thrawn,
or Sabine Wren. I mean, that's another character that I actually really liked in Rebels. That I hope she comes back. You know what I mean? Well, there was that screenshot floating around the internet of like for the preview of Ahsoka that does show her standing in front of that mural she made of all the Rebels crew. But hey man, like I think that you if you bring back characters or you're going to take any lore, please do your research and bring back the stuff that true fans truly appreciate. Because think about it. What happened if they do some freaking like a Darth Bane story? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I feel like they should possibly, because we know all this stuff about the Jedi. We don't know basically anything about the lore of the Sith. So you think about it, like I say, give it an even kill. Even out the scales a little bit. Give us a little Sith, give us a little Jedi, give us a little Mandalorian. Give us, the non-empowered.
This is the chick who's been officially cast for Sabine Wren.
Oh, she's cute.
Yeah. That's gonna be good.
What's her resume? Let's see.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
here, let me look.
Pull it up.
Right here.
Let's see. Let's see if she passes the test.
So I see Guns Akimbo.
Guns Akimbo. That was decent.
I still haven't even seen that yet.
It was good. It was weird, but not been in too much. Definitely a newer actress for sure.
Oh, Greatest Showman.
Okay, I haven't watched that. Was that good?
Is that Annabelle?
I don't like musicals, but it fucking went off. And Hugh Jackman is a underrated vocalist.
Oh, that's that movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, Hugh Jackman is great. He's a great actor.
Go watch don't even watch the movie. Go watch the title track, the Greatest Showman song. Like that song is so fucking hype.
Right. I brought up Ezra Bridger earlier. The leaks about Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's been without his lightsaber for years now. Since he left with the Purgil, he's the only way to defend himself is the Force and himself. So what they're saying is basically he has created a style of mixed martial arts that utilizes the Force with mixed martial arts to be able to defend himself and whatnot. And the first time that he comes back, he'll eventually, probably in Ahsoka, end up making another lightsaber. Because the word is that Sabine Wren this entire time has been carrying his green lightsaber. Because right before he left with the Purgil, he gave his green lightsaber to Sabine Wren. And she's been carrying it, and she already had training from Kanan Jarrus for using the Darksaber, so she knows how to wield a lightsaber. So the story is she's been using Ezra's lightsaber this entire time, and Ezra has been without a lightsaber, obviously. So he's going to come back, have some kind of martial arts mixed with the Force type thing going on, and also maybe even do some kind of move similar to like something out of Dragon Ball Z or Street Fighter, like a Kamehameha wave or a Hadouken type move.
So I could foresee him possibly being the second practitioner of Shatterpoint. You know what I mean? Because if he goes without a lightsaber for so long, you gotta. It's either he's, mastered some kind of Mandalorian fighting style since he lives so close with one, or he might have, what's that Vapad, or I think that's the style that Mace Windu used. So if maybe he, Force Ghost Yoda, or Mace, that's another good way to bring Mace Windu back. Have him be a Force Ghost that taught Ezra Bridger how to use Vapad. You know what I mean? That form of light and dark, because he's also had the teachings of the Bendu pushed into his head.
Yeah,
because the Bendu took Kanan Jarrus and made him a badass. Remember, because he didn't know how to fight when he was blinded. And the Bendu's like, oh, there's many ways to do this. And he taught him how to master fighting without eyesight.
right.
Or he's either learned how to become one with the Force, like when Kanan fought the Grand Inquisitor.
Shit. I'm about to have to wrap it up for the night.
Do what?
So I got to get off for the night. I got to go do some stuff real quick.
Yeah, we've been going for almost an hour anyways, so.
I'll see y'all next time.
All right, Mando. Have a good one.
All right, Mando.
Take care.
But yeah, I agree, and I think there was another thing I was going to bring up before we get off of here. Apparently next month at Star Wars Celebration, they're going to be revealing the next 3 movies they're making.
Oh man,
nice.
That's
because they didn't reveal shit last year when I went.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
So when's this going down? I might see if I can get some tickets.
Is it London or
Yeah, it's in fucking London this year.
Bastards.
And what's fucked up is every year that they have it here, me and my dad both get in the queue to try to get the Jedi Master Passes, which is basically the VIP, because we want to go get the exclusives and stuff that they're dropping for the event. But it's fucking impossible. We're barely able to even get the weekend passes that we get. But we've been 3 times now, and it's a great experience. They've changed it up multiple times since we've been. The first time we went, it was we got into the panel where they showed the Force Awakens trailer, so we were fucking stoked about that. And everything else was oh, you get in line, it's first come, first serve. But then they've changed it up these last couple of years where it's oh yeah, there's a lottery or something. So you're thinking about oh, well, we can't get in. But then this last time we went, they're oh, it's first come, first serve. But you have to be there right when it opens up. Otherwise you're fucked. Because we wanted to go on the Hasbro panel because we wanted to see all the stuff that they're dropping between Black Series and the Hasbro Pulse and everything else. And they're oh yeah, you're 20 people late, and we're damn, you can't do nothing for us. We can't even stand in the back, and they're nah, get fucked. And we're
bro, that's where I have to love the way that Comic-Con and Comicpalooza do things. If you spend that extra coin to get either the fast pass, the speed pass, or the VIP, the VIP gets you into the actual festivities 30 minutes earlier. So you get a 1-up.
Well, so what they were doing for guaranteed spots is they were hey, hop on the app and join the queue. But you have to get on right at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we're okay, cool. So we're getting in there and we can't get in. And they're oh yeah, you're this place in line. And then by the time you get there, there's nothing available. It's all the bullshit panels no one wants to go see. And you're that's fucking stupid.
They don't do that at Comic-Con. What they do is they put out I think there's 3 waves of ticket buying, and in the first 2, they're you literally have to be clicking the button exactly at let's say if it's 9 o'clock at 8:59, 57, and you got to keep pressing until you get in that room. But I feel there needs, with all this stuff coming out, there needs to be more Star Wars events. I don't think that they're doing it themselves any, because you think about that, dude, I'm willing to pay $300-400 a ticket. To get the VIP pass, right? So it's you got to think how many people have grown up loving this series, reading these books, and then now you're going to let out, little tidbits of information that are only exclusive to these events. It's like you got to kind of, expand the city a little bit, because I mean, like, the fan base is now, what is this? Like 4 generations of people. I mean, like, that have all experienced Star Wars at certain points in their life. Like, you think if you were teenagers in the 70s, you're now 60. You know what I'm saying? So that's 3 generations.
My dad saw the original Star Wars when he was like, 5, I think.
Damn, dude,
5,
I wish
5
I
or
would have been
6.
alive.
Yeah, mine went and saw the original one when he was 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. My dad was about the same age there too. But it's just like they need to have more Star Wars events, especially if you're putting out this many television series, this many movies. Like, they're pretty. What I think they're doing, if they're setting this up to maybe bring in so many characters that this might last for another 10, 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, there's at least a decade worth of material that they're supposedly going to release that is going to, you think about it, it's a whole new fan base. You got Gen Zers now. So you got to do something to spice it up, especially to bring back these lifelong fans.
Yeah, like, that's me and my dad's thing, because he's the one that turned me on to Star Wars from the get-go. He's like, hey, man, I grew up watching this shit. You should watch it now. And then, like, that's been me and his bond for, like, since I was a kid, like, probably the same age. I mean, obviously, like, 5 or 6 when you can start comprehending stuff. So about the same time he started watching it. So he was like, hey, you're going to watch this. And I'm like, dude, sick. And then he's over here. He's buying all this stuff, like all this collector stuff. And it's funny. One day he's like, hey, what are you going to do with all my Star Wars stuff when I die? I'm like, it's going over to my house. I'm displaying it. Like, it's going to be a whole thing. I'm going to add your collection with mine. He's like, okay, cool. As long as my money's not going to waste. I'm like, no. I'm not going to sell it. It's going to sit at my house on display. So that's been our thing. And one thing I'm going to say about Celebration that most people don't realize, which I didn't even realize this last time we went. So they have like a little public stage out in the middle of the convention floor. And they do like a whole live stream thing during the day. Like, they'll go over there, they'll go over to the main streaming rooms, whatever. Like, they're putting it all online and whatnot. I did not realize that the main cast from like Mando and a bunch of other stuff, like, were going to come out, because apparently, like, the dude that plays Boba Fett, the Tamir Morrison, he went out there and did that. Pedro Pascal went out and was out there. So it was right out in the open. We did not know at all. Like, it wasn't planned. Like, they came out there, we're doing like interviews and stuff, like, in the middle of the convention. So that's one of those things about the convention. When you see that stage, you're like, oh shit, yeah. Like, let's not sleep on this, because people do come out in the middle of the day out of nowhere, unplanned.
Well, what I've kind of been wondering is, should I dual wield? Should I buy the internet pass to view everything and go to the event? So that way, if I'm sitting in some kind of forum where they're releasing or showing the cast to a new show, if they do something out in the main area, I'll still be able to skim back and watch that. And to me, I mean, it might seem like ridiculous, but like, being a person who was raised into this, and just like you and your dad, I remember watching Star Wars the first time with my parents. I remember my dad giving me my first Legends book. You know what I mean? Because back in the day, there was the Pizza Hut Readers Club. You read a book, your parents sign it, and you get a star. About that. You know what I'm saying? You can go get a personal pizza. So like, for me, it's like, my dad always used to be like, hey, if you read X amount of books, then here, I'll get you a season pass to Six Flags or blah, 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 blah. And this and that. There was always a reward for, it was genius, because now I'm so into this shit that it's like, Star Wars and Marvel, turn it into a liquid, I'll freebase it. You know what I mean? Like, I love this shit, man. And the best part now is being a father is I now have the ability to share these things with my kids. Like I remember hanging out in tree forts and being like, oh, dude, imagine if Star Wars did this or Star Wars did that or Marvel did this, Marvel did that. That time is now here. So we now have the ability not only to show our kids the old stuff, the golden stuff, from the golden age of this or the I would say the bronze age of of Star Wars, all the way up to now the present, the gold and the platinum. And I would really appreciate if they did do more Star Wars live events. I feel like that's the one thing that they're actually lacking. They're so invested in Disney Plus and all this, but it's like you realize if you put these people in front of a crowd of 6,000 to 10,000 individuals, we're all willing to pay you money to see them. Give us more tidbits. Like the fact that it's over in London and they're not going to do one here in the States kind of sucks.
Well, they alternated every year, so because I remember
it's almost every 6 months sometimes.
Yeah, when we went and we didn't go in 2019 because they did it in Detroit. My dad was like, "Oh, Detroit's a shithole."
It definitely
but
is.
They did it in 2018 in Amsterdam, and then the year before that, it was in California or Florida, whichever one. No, it was in Florida because California was 2015.
Well, all I'm saying is, do it like Comic-Con. Have one, every country has their one Comic-Con super large event, but you also have us living in different states all over the place. You have San Diego Comic-Con, you have Comic Palooza here in Texas. You got all different little places that have New York Comic-Con, all different kind of things. It's like, so I would say, hey, thinking about them thinking about the dollar, it's like present this to as many people as possible. And the funny thing is, you don't have to change anything. You could literally have the same thing in 6 different places, and people are going to pay you money for it. You know what I mean? I know people who would pay to watch it on live stream and then watch it again in person. It's like me, dude. Like how if they when they make movies, they also got to think about the rewatch value. How many times can we make somebody want to see this in theaters to have that 3D experience with the great surround sound, the high def camera or projector? Dude, I'll pay money for that. And that's my only like, shit, Star Wars isn't doing it just right. I mean, so far everything that's come out has been like you said, Obi-Wan could have had some better writing, but there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I'm saying? But at least some of the scenes within that Obi-Wan series, or I've heard some people gripe over the Andor series, that it was like watching like what movie is that with Daniel Day-Lewis? There Will Be Blood. It was a lot of dialogue, but I'm like, you got to understand, for people like me and you guys, I would expect the same way. You got to have character development. Like, you can put out anything you want to put out, but if you don't flush out your characters like the original Justice League, it's going to be crap. You know what I'm saying? And then just step the game up just a little bit. But man, I'm just happy that the times we live in, there is like this new wave of stuff coming out. It's not it didn't end with the Skywalker saga. It's going to continue on afterwards. And with the development of with Grogu coming out, like there's like a plethora of things you can do with a character that's an infant and then lives 900 years. There's so much stuff you can do with that. Like, I would hope that, George Lucas approves a Yoda flashback series. I would love to see Yoda coming up as the Jedi. And I think you guys would too, man. I mean, if they don't have any lazy writers doing this shit, it should be awesome.
Yeah, they got to have the right people writing it. People that are actually fans of the lore, not somebody who wants to make a paycheck and knows how to write.
That's where I think Jon Favreau is. Like, anything he touches, man, anything. He even had something to do with Spider-Man No Way Home and all those movies, the latest Spider-Mans. But it's like, anything that Filoni and Favreau put out, I'm pretty much going to be on it because so far they haven't let me down.
Right.
You know, and there's not many writers, directors, producers that have that track record where there's like, oh man, dude, like name something bad that these guys have done. Like whenever they give it off to somebody else, it's kind of meh. But when those guys are involved in everything, it's God, man, it's Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying? It's Rogue One. I love the story of Rogue One because it actually captures the darkness inside the galaxy. All these characters we know, they talk about it, but there's never an actual reference back to it. It's always word of mouth. I love seeing that the Empire was dirty, grimy. I love the inner turmoil between each of the Moffs and all those guys. I thought that was awesome. I even loved the little love-hate relationship that Tarkin had with what's his name? You know what I mean, from Rogue One. That he stole his project and like, oh, it's my baby now.
Yeah.
I like that, but I feel like they need to keep doing what they're doing. And dude, it's a great time to be a fan. Like honestly.
Absolutely, I agree. I can't stop yawning, man. I'm sitting here trying to stay awake, but I'm
you old
dead.
fuck.
That was the activities pre-live stream.
Yeah, right. Also, I'm not used to being up as early as I've been getting up in the mornings. Also,
you been hitting the gym still?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah,
This is the way.
Every day this week.
Mm-hmm.
Been up there.
I've been slacking, so I bought a membership before COVID, and then when COVID hit, that ended everything. I still pay for it. I just have not been.
Oh goodness, why are you still paying for it if you don't go?
Because I'm like, oh, I should go. I'm paying $20 or whatever a month. Let's run it. But I'm like, oh my god, like I don't have fucking time.
But dude,
right
they bank on that shit, dude. Like, the worst time for me as a consistent gym rat is New Year's time. Those first 3-4 months after January, it's like, oh hell, when is the crowd gonna die down? But once you get into the summer months, dude, it's awesome.
Right.
Well, my thing is, at one point I was doing cardio kickboxing, and obviously when you're paying $110 or $120 a month or whatever it was, you're like, oh hell yeah, I'm actually gonna go, which I did. I was really consistent. Like my whole stomach area was all toned up. I was still drinking, but I was still looking pretty fucking tight down there. Now I got this big ass pudge, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to fucking do
you
something.
You just gotta dust off your Mandalorian, hand-to-hand combat guide, and you'll be right back into it.
I'm about to, because damn, like every time I go out, everyone's like, you got fat. I'm like, fuck you, bitch. Like waist wise, I'm still skinny, but like
tell them you're in a bulking stage. Tell them you're in a bulking stage to get off.
And eating right's not my problem. I can cook all day, so I can cook fish and chicken.
Oh shit!
That wasn't good.
There goes his mic.
Well, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go, man. Thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate the insight that you guys have dropped off.
Go ahead and
this
end
is
the
like
stream.
May the force be with you.
Oh yeah. Well,